Hello everyone, and welcome to our cozy corner of the internet. Today I have a heartwarming story to share with you, a tale about a very small mouse with a very big heart. In a cozy old cottage, right at the edge of a lush green meadow, lived a tiny mouse named Milo. Milo was the smallest of all the mice in the cottage. But what he lacked in size, he more than made up for with the biggest heart and the brightest smile you've ever seen. Every morning, like clockwork, he would poke his little nose out of his mouse hole, twitch his whiskers, and sniff the air. Smells like cheese somewhere. He'd squeak with pure excitement. For Milo, the promise of cheese was the best part of any day. One particularly frosty winter day, a deep rumble echoed from Milo's tiny tummy. It was louder than ever before. He knew he had to find something to eat. So his grand search began. He scurried high and he scurried low. He checked behind the tall wooden cupboard, then scurried under the big comfy chair. Just when he thought his search was hopeless, he spotted a dusty old basket tucked away in a corner. He tiptoed closer, peeked inside, and there it was. The biggest, most magnificent, most golden piece of cheese he had ever laid his eyes on. Oh, my whiskers! He gasped, his little heart thumping with joy. It's beautiful, and it's all mine. He did a little happy dance around his treasure, already dreaming of all the delicious meals he would have. It would surely last him for weeks. But just as Milo leaned in to take his very first, much-anticipated bite, he heard a faint sound from outside, a tiny, weak chirp. Chirp. He paused, his cheese forgotten for a moment, and looked towards the window. There, perched on the sill, was a tiny blue bird, shivering uncontrollably in the biting cold. Milo's big heart melted. He couldn't possibly enjoy his feast while another creature was suffering. He called out gently, "You look so hungry, little bird. Would you like some of my cheese?" The bird, barely able to move, nodded its head weakly. Without a second thought, Milo tore a small piece from his glorious cheese and carefully offered it to the bird. The bird ate the piece gratefully, and soon its chirps grew stronger. It sang a soft, beautiful thank you song before spreading its wings and flying away, leaving Milo with a warm feeling inside. A little while later, as the snow continued to fall, a squirrel came hopping into the cottage through a small crack in the door. His paws were empty, and his brown fur was wet and matted from the snow. He looked utterly miserable. "Oh dear," said Milo, rushing over to him, "you look absolutely frozen." The squirrel let out a heavy sigh. "All my nuts are buried deep under the snow. I haven't eaten a single thing all day." Milo didn't need to think twice. He just smiled warmly and said, "Don't you worry, I've got plenty to share." He cut another generous chunk from his cheese and handed it over. The squirrel's eyes sparkled with relief and gratitude. "Thank you, little friend. You're a true hero." Milo blushed, his whiskers twitching. "Oh, it's nothing, really." As evening fell and the cottage grew darker, a gentle old owl with wise round eyes fluttered down and landed softly near the window. Her feathers looked tired and ruffled from a long journey, and her voice was a bit cracked as she spoke. "I've flown so far tonight," she hooted softly. "Might there be just a tiny crumb for an old owl?" Milo looked down at his cheese. Only a small piece was left now. He hesitated for just a split second, but then a big smile spread across his face. Of course, dear owl, sharing makes the cheese taste even better. The owl smiled a kind, knowing smile, took the piece, and whispered, "You have a kind heart, little mouse. Remember, kindness always finds its way back to you." And with that, she flew off silently into the starry night sky. That night, Milo curled up in his tiny bed. The room was cold, but he felt wonderfully warm inside. He dreamed of the birds' sweet song, the squirrels' happy laughter, and the owl's soft, kind eyes. When the morning sun peeked through his window, Milo woke up, stretched, and rubbed his eyes. He glanced over to where his last cheese crumbs had been and let out a huge gasp. Right there, in that very spot, stood a towering stack of the most delicious golden cheese he had ever seen. It was a mountain of cheese. He squeaked with absolute joy. It's magic. The owl was right. Kindness came back. From that day forward, Milo shared everything he had, not just his cheese, but his laughter and his whole heart. And everyone in the meadow came to know him as Milo, the kind mouse. This story reminds us that when you share with love, life has a beautiful way of giving you back more than you ever imagined. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming tales. See you next time.